So Mike Silver goes on NFL Network on Tuesday and says that the Seahawks and Ravens have had internal discussions about signing Antonio Brown. Silver said that he made the way he said it was the Seahawks have talked about maybe having a late season add an AB if he gets suspended, and then he mentions the fact that the Ravens have his cousin Hollywood Brown on the team, and then Vic Tafur retweeted it and said, team's happy that Brown has been quiet on social media. The few Raiders practices he attended, he dominated. Why Gruden kept giving him chances. So I guess there's a couple ways. A, with the Niners, even with Debo getting hurt, think about it. We've talked about that. But also, B, would it matter to the 49ers if Antonio Brown ended up in the division? I would say no, he's not going to be a Niner. And I do think it would matter if he ended up in the division.
I think it would 100% matter that he ends up in the division. But I'm with you. It would be the most shocking thing those guys have done if they were to sign AB, I think. Right?
Yeah.
That would be a stunning move. If a story broke the Niners were bringing an AB to talk with him, I'd be a little shell-shocked. Where Seattle makes perfect sense.
If you told me there's a story that they've talked about it for more than 20 minutes, I'd be surprised.
Do we agree on this? Antonio Brown is going to play in the NFL again.
Yes.
I think that's the lock of the century unless he goes to jail or something.
It feels like someone told him, dude, just stop getting filmed, stop tweeting, you'll get back in the league. But you got to do that to get back in the league.
I'm as pro-talent as anybody.
And he probably needs the money. Money's running out.
He is remarkable. He is. He had one of the great 6-year stretches in the history of the NFL. The clip he had. Now, the Raiders defense has like Haberman, Middlecoff at the time, and like 6 other guys. So it wasn't exactly the 85 Bears. There was a play I remember they tweeted out during OTAs where he ran around 7 guys. And they're in shorts and a t-shirt where all you got to do is touch them. They couldn't get a hand on him. And I remember retweeting it like, oh my God. You know, it was probably a little harder to do that in a Steeler practice, but Antonio had been doing that in games, right? You had been sitting on your couch over the last 5 years and just been like, damn, AB's doing all this crazy shit. He is nuts, though, guy. I mean, he is insane. I don't know how you forget the 8 months of. Remember, before he got traded, he kind of did a couple interviews with Jeff Darlington. It was starting to get weird. He gets traded, kind of gets less weird. But then the feet thing happened, and then we go back and we learn what a big pain he was during OTAs. Like when that was happening, remember? It was like, yeah, Antonio Brown would just leave right in the middle of practice.
Right.
Or he stormed out because of the helmet. And no one knew that was going on. And then the Mayock thing, and then to go to the Patriots to last a game, sneaky one-game performance, touchdown.
Look at this. I mean, if you told me 8 targets, 4 receptions, 56 yards, a touchdown. You told me you were getting that was one game out. Like imagine if he got back into a rhythm.
One game out, guy. It was also, wouldn't you say, over the past decade when you go, what's the hardest offense to learn in the NFL? Everyone's like, oh, fucking Josh and Tom. It's like they got all these crazy calls. 4 catches, 8 targets. Like Tom's is.
They did feed him.
They did feed him, but still, I mean that's pretty impressive. Now he
had
way
15 touchdowns in 2018.
Guy, he's incredible. He's a Hall of Fame talent. He's a Hall of Fame player. But the performance to me, after he got cut by the Patriots for the next 4 months, is almost weirder than anything happened previously. And he showed up to training camp in an air balloon with fried feet, right? That happened. Fried feet.
Yeah.
And I think it got dramatically weirder. Could you? I get his talent is immense. I don't know if I'd mess with him, man.
I know that I would not. I think if you're the 49ers in particular, there's nothing better than being good and being able to do it on your terms, not feel like you're in a desperate spot. The good news is, let me ask you this. If I told you, knock on wood, if you're with me, that Deebo Samuel tore his ACL and was out for the season, not broke his foot and is out 10 to 12 to 14 weeks, would that change your thinking at all if you knew they were going to be without Deebo Samuel this year?
I would feel more comfortable, and I don't know who these players are, but every year there are these guys out there, right? I'm inquiring about, can I trade a 2nd or 3rd round pick for a guy?
Yeah, no,
right?
I wouldn't mess with him under any circumstances if I were the Niners. That said,
if I told you he's on his best behavior and they got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Antonio Brown with something to prove, and Russell Wilson, I go, holy shit, that offense could be pretty good. I mean, he's throwing bombs to DK, Antonio's kicking your ass, and it feels like Lockett's been one of the most underappreciated players in the league for like 5 straight years.
So why would it be different for the Seahawks than for the 49ers? Is it because the 49ers are much earlier in this kind of evolution of establishing who we are?
While they're the same team when they play each other, independently they're very different when they go out and play other opponents. I witnessed the Niners, whose team, the roster is much better.
So you're saying if the Niners were worse, they would then consider this if they were not a Super Bowl contender?
To me, Seattle goes, we're not as good as these other top teams, though we kind of are because we have Russell Wilson, but we're playing with just these players that we don't have enough blue chip players on our team. That's why they were aggressive to get Clowney. That's why it makes sense here. Like, to me, the Ravens, why would you even begin to touch them? Now, you know why. You said Hollywood Brown. Remember, there was that picture, Hollywood and Lamar, all Florida guys with AB. I bet Lamar's like, listen, we like this guy. Lamar, I love you. You're 23. You're still a little young. Let's just let us make this decision.
I do think there is an easy part of having him on your team, which is that there's probably not any discussion if something weird happens about whether you cut him or not, right? Like the Patriots, he was on the team. Yeah. In other words, don't have to pay.
You don't have to pay him any money. No.
Right, you're going to have the leverage. He's not going to have the leverage. So I don't really think, like, let's say he ends up on the Seahawks. From a Niners perspective, there will be some people that would say, well, good, he's a headache. Maybe he'll be a problem for them. And to that, I would say, if he's a problem, they're just going to cut him. Like, he's not going to derail their season. He's not going to have that power like he did when he showed up in Oakland. The flip side is he might actually be good. I do think it's kind of weird. He is
he is good.
Well, I mean, he might actually play.
Yeah.
He is high risk to get kicked off the team, but he's low risk to blow your season up because it's one strike and you're out with him. So I like if he ended up on the Seahawks, doesn't mean he would actually affect the season, but I do think there's a real chance that he'd be a good football player for him. I mean, that he'd be able to survive at least. I don't know. He plays in one of the 2 games that could decide. That's the thing too, right? He doesn't have to play 16 games. What if he plays against you once and decides home field advantage in the NFC?
Great point. Do you believe that if you're kind of a crazy person, are you better off in a disciplined environment or are you better off in a kind of pro player you get to do you like Seattle? Because you could argue it might not be the ideal spot for them. The Ravens, a little more buttoned down, just in the sense of they don't mess around as much. Part of Pete's deal is messing around, loosey-goosey, on the players. Now, I'm not saying it's still you got to focus and learn, but it is a little looser. It's not like the Harbaugh Niners were like they weren't having to
argue for it to work. You'd say maybe he is the kind of person, right? People are like this. You were like this as a kid. You've told stories. Telling you to not do something is how to get you to do something. So you would also say, though, you had a structure in your home and you needed that structure. So I don't know that you can say all people are one way or the other. If you're trying to teach somebody how to be an adult, then no matter what kind of person they are, they probably need some structure. But if you're just trying to get the most out of them for a football season, yeah, maybe less rules. Like college basketball. If you have less rules for people to break, then people will break less rules. If you just have less rules for him to break, then maybe he'll break less rules, right? I mean, if it's a rule that you can't go to Vegas on an off day before a playoff game, then Dennis Rodman broke a rule. But if it's not a rule, then he didn't break the rule.
Because Pete's a little Phil Jackson, right? Like Michael, he's just got to go to Vegas. Let him go, right? Pete's got some of that, and that's what makes him great. You could argue it would be the best spot for him, right? Because Pete's open-minded.
Well, we've already seen, let's go to this. We've seen how it works in the alternative world, right?
Where? Go to somewhere super tight?
Yeah.
But I think the reason they cut him in New England, right, was...
I just meant Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but where do they fall on the spectrum?
I think they seem moderately buttoned. I mean, not moderate. They're a buttoned-down organization. I don't know how they manage discipline day-to-day, but they're a buttoned-down place.
Yeah. Because New England, it felt like he was going to be all right there, but part of it was Tom was on his ass. and then the thing snowballed about the sexual assault,
Right.
and Robert Kraft. And,
That's
you know,
not
was
about
out of-
him being a pain in the ass. That was just like, we
No.
got to get out of this.
Now, could he have lasted in New England for 2 months? I think it would have been hard, right?
Yeah.
I would just call him red flag, don't touch. But it's easy to say that, and then he's kicking your ass, 10 catches for
Yeah, to
180
me,
on
if you
Sunday Night
said,
Football.
do you want your rival to sign him? And if you answered yes, it's because you think he can like subvert their season and leadership and just like fuck the whole thing up. I'd say no, I don't want my rival to sign him because if he fucks up, they'll just cut him and it won't matter. But if he's good, he's gonna be. But if he plays, he's gonna be great.
Agreed.
It's not like their quarterback, with all due respect, it's not Ryan Tannehill. Like Russell Wilson will make the most of it. And you're right, DK Metcalf is good.
They'd be pretty cool on offense. Their offense would be really expensive.
We already watch all their games, but yeah.